better bomb, better, better bomb, better bomb, better with the drugs, better with the big love, but the gun in my brain go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back out on the trap line. Today's video is going to be set location. Location. So I found a new location for a bait set. I'm going to give you kind of an idea of why I chose this spot. Now, as you can see, it's pretty open. We've got this spruce tree right here that we're going to cut down, and a few other little spruce trees. But what that does is it gives the birds the opportunity to come and go freely, so they're not bouncing through the trees and working their way through the trees. Now, the second reason I chose this spot is there's lots of little trails coming through here from rabbits and whatnot, but we got lots of little game trails coming through the trees. Now, this section right here is really thick, and this is going to be a killer spot. Like right through there, this is a rabbit trail that wanders through there, and that's a beautiful spot. We're going to hang some stuff in here for sure. Things are definitely going to go down. But the reason I chose this spot is that if you were looking from the air, okay, so if you were looking from the air, there's a river here and a river here, and we're sitting like right here. So we've got two main paths of travel, and then there's a road that follows through right here. And so we're kind of right at the junction, right at the corner of this. Now, years past, I've had another set about 300 yards from here that I'm not going to bait that one this year. I'm going to make this my new one. Give the animals something different to look at so they're not so skittish of the area. Over the years, they've kind of decided that they don't like that set anymore. They're really cautious of it. But we're going to make this kind of a catch-all set for K-9s, fox, coyotes, and wolves. Now, there's lots. We saw the back half over here, which is really thick. Small spruce trees. That's where I'm going to focus all my fox gear and my coyote gear. And then on this side over here, see, we've got lots of good spots for wolf loops. Lots of good trails that are coming through here that I could drop wolf gear. Now, the set that's up the trail a ways, I've caught a handful of wolves out of there already over the years. And I think moving it closer to that junction, to that crossing where the two rivers are coming together, I think is going to improve that number drastically. But I'm going to show you a before and after, kind of giving you guys an idea of how I'm going to block this in. This is all preseason stuff. You don't have to worry about your scent. You don't have to worry about anything. But we're going to get some duck unders built, and I'm going to clean up and block in like right here. That's pretty wide open. If a fox or a coyote, if you try to block that in mid-season, they're going to recognize that this trail right here is okay. But I'm going to block this in, put some twigs and brush in and make it a little bit tighter for me. Work in my favor a little better. And then these trails in this really thick stuff, we're going to clean these trails out, and we're going to make it a little more inviting for our friends. And we'll show you what it looks like when it's all said and done, and we'll go through and I'll explain it all to you. So, time to get to work. So now we're cleaning things up, and we're cleaning the trail out. Now, this is a rabbit trail, all your fox and coyotes and lynx, they're all going to run these trails. So what I did was this trail here, you can see it splits off. There's a trail here and there's a trail right here that the rabbits are using. And they're going to use those trails all winter long. And so all I did was come by and just kind of clean it up a little bit for the K-9s to move down, to move through it. And what I'll do is I'll end up putting 2 snares here, but I'm going to show you a little trick, because I'm going to put a snare off of this tree here to cover this trail. Okay. And then I'll put another snare to cover this trail, but there's this gap through here that I guarantee you they're going to be using right through here, but there's nothing but little tiny spindly stuff to snare to. So I'm going to show you a little trick to blocking that in. We got Mason over here chopping down a tree that's right in the middle of where the bait pile is going to be. And I'm going to move that tree and I'm going to jam it into the ground over here. And that thing will freeze in and it'll hold a coyote and fox no problem. But let's get to work and get her done. So I grabbed that tree that Mason cut down back over there, and all I did was jam it into the ground right here. And we'll wire it up further up the top to help it stay in place. But all I did was jam it in the ground. It's solid. It's not going to go anywhere. Now we can cover all these trails and not have to block. All I did was transplant a tree, and now we got something solid to anchor to, which is going to work out real nice. But man, they've got rabbit trails just beat down all throughout this really thick, small spruce. And this is going to be a graveyard in there when I'm done. We're going to kill some serious fox and coyotes in here. I can't wait. All right, so this trail right here that you can see, it's pretty wide open. It's probably 4 feet across. It's pretty open. You hang a wolf loop in there and it's going to be right in the center, and it's going to stand out pretty good. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to fix this problem. We've got a spot over here for another snare that we'll brush in a little bit more. And then there's another spot on the other side, but the other side's pretty thick. It's just this hole here and this hole here that I'm gonna focus on and block in. But what we're gonna do is grab one of our spruce trees and jam that puppy into the ground, just like that. Just like that. Okay, so now you can see the trail's pretty brushed in. Now that's a little aggressive for my liking. We're just gonna come in here and snip this junk off here, maybe. Okay, take care of that little thing. We don't want him in the way. But I'm just gonna come in here like this, and we're just gonna make this spot just a little more inviting for him. Okay, we'll just come in here and clean this off, just like that. Okay, now I want to leave some of this here, because that's where the lock and the majority of the snare is going to be, where your lead wire is going to be coming off, your lock and everything is going to be up top here. So I want to kind of leave this a tangled mess, and your loop is going to drop down to right about in here, and that's about knee height or so to me. And so that loop is going to be right here is where that wolf loop is going to be. And it's got lots of stuff around it to break up the outline of that snare. And so this side's looking a lot better. We need to block this in a little bit more, but it's gonna work out really good. Okay, so on this trail in particular, this is a moose trail that the moose are using. So if you're gonna put a snare on that, if you do not use a duck under or some method to control where that moose is gonna go, 100% he's gonna be in your snare. And nobody wants that. That's no fun. You don't make any money when you catch moose. So what we're gonna do is I've got a fairly thick pole here, and we're gonna come in here and stick this child perfect, just like that. Okay, now what that's gonna do is that's gonna force the moose over. Move this thing a little bit so that's not sticking up. Okay, so what that moose is going to do is go over it. Now I might have to adjust the angle a little bit because it's a little bit too steep, but we can fix that. We want to give that moose the opportunity to do what we want. Okay, so that's looking a lot better than what it did. Okay, so there you go. There's the duck under. All your K-9s are going to shoot through here. All your moose are going to go over the top. They're not going to try to duck under that. They're way taller. They're going to step right over. But it funnels all those target animals right through the gap, which is going to be right here. So your snare, your loop, is going to be right here, if you can see that. Okay, your bottom of your loop's going to be right here. So it's nice and well broken up, and that'll have a wolf in it. But that's how you deal with moose trails. Any spot where I feel a moose might come through, I put duck unders on all of them just to be safe. That, and I use breakaway snares as well. But where, example, if you put a breakaway snare on a tree that stands alone and there's not good stuff around it for that wolf to get tangled up, you're giving that wolf the opportunity to pull directly on that snare. And if you're using a cam lock with a breakaway on it and that wolf doesn't have anything to tangle up around, he's going to bust that lock. 9 times out of 10, he's going to break it. But if you've got trees in the vicinity and they're big enough for him to wrap up on, that cam lock will hold him no problem. So for this set in particular, I'm not going to put a cam lock on him because there's really nothing. That tree I put there, that tree is dying. So if he gets caught, he's going to take that right out. And then the only tree he has to wrap up on is over here. And that's it. That's the only thing that's going to prevent him from breaking that lock. So this one is going to have just a regular Berkshire wolf lock on it, which isn't going to break. He can pull on it all he wants. But the downside is, if a moose does happen to decide to duck that duck under, or if it's a calf and he decides to duck it, he's going to be in that snare and it's not going to break. But you just gotta weigh the pros and cons of everything and do your best to try to eliminate any non-target animals. And that's where a lot of the pre-season work comes in, coming in here and building these duck unders and closing your set locations in like I showed you, and you will be successful. If you build it, they will come. So just a matter of, now we need snow. snowing November 1st. And I guarantee you we're going to be killing some stuff in here. And I can't wait to show you guys the fruits of my labor. All right, this is another location where we're going to need to put a duck under. But this location, we can use a cam lock with a breakaway on it. And you can clearly see, you can see the moose footprints here, that they've been just running this trail like crazy. Well, wolves are gonna run that trail too. So I'll slap a duck under on it, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so now we got the duck under on the trail. All those moose will go over, all your K-9s will go right under. But on this set, there's lots of stuff. So if we put a wolf loop on this tree right here, and that's what you're anchoring to, he's got lots of stuff to tangle up all the way around it. So he's not fighting that lock directly. And that'll hold him there. He's not gonna break it. But that's gonna be a good set location right there, guys. We'll have a wolf there for sure. But it's just about finding all those spots and getting them taken care of before the season.
Fit it with the big love,
Till next time.